Hello, everyone. It is time finally for the monthly market update where we're discussing what happened in April. Yes, I know it's May 23rd. Typically, I do allow a couple weeks after month end for the data in the MLS to season because that allows brokerages and agents to get all of their final closings for the month and stuff entered in so that we can really get a true picture of April. It's just that last week was hectic. So, yes, it's a week late, and I apologize for that, but there's still some interesting insights going on. So, as we look at the monthly market update, my agenda is to go through a mortgage rate update, a national real estate update, and then also our local here, March real estate stats. So this one might be a little bit longer than my normal monthly updates, but definitely not as long as the ones that Josh and I do together. So take a quick look at the mortgage market. Again, I am not a mortgage expert. I'm not a mortgage loan officer. So I'm just going to show you the data and give a little bit of um, perspective on it. So first, if we look at the past 5 years of mortgage rates, you can see the graph does not look all that great. They have been going up for the past 5 years. They're just above 7% on a national average right now, which I'll show you in a bit. But I want you to get perspective. If we go back almost 50 years, you can see that rates there's many more decades of rates being higher than where they are currently at now. And those super low rates you can see in the last 50 years, no one ever saw. So, and in my opinion, that did two things. One, money was cheap. People could afford more home than they ever could in any history in the US. And what did they do? They bought those higher priced homes. They went over on asking prices. They did all kinds of things that helped kind of push the home prices in our country and especially in our area up at a rapid pace. Why? Money was cheap. So that's part of the reason why we're at where we are currently and why that mortgage rate kind of resetting back to historic norms feels worse than it actually is. Um, and again, it's going to be difficult. This is a quote that I used last month from Greg McBride. It still applies, in my opinion. He says it'll be difficult for mortgage rates to post a meaningful and sustained pullback from 7% until there is a greater consensus on what is next with inflation. Odetta Kushi, I hope I said his name wrong, deputy chief economist with First American, says every month brings a new set of inflation and labor data that can influence the direction of mortgage rates. Ongoing inflation deceleration, a slowing economy, and even geopolitical uncertainty can contribute to lower mortgage rates. On the other hand, data that signals upside risk to inflation may result in higher rates, which is what we've seen in the last few weeks. But we have seen them pull back a little bit. Today's mortgage rates, like I said, just over 7% on a national average. There's a lot of people seeing less than that at 6.6%, and some people with maybe worse credit and other factors, not as much money to put down, are seeing closer to 8%. So it really just depends on that spectrum of where you fall based on your own credit history, credit score, and the amount of money that you have in the bank and available to put down on that new home. So let's take a quick look at the national real estate market review. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this than I normally do because I do think it's important right now. Now that we're 4 months into the year, it's important to see what's going on in our market as a nation and then also how that compares to our local market. So, what do you say we go ahead and get started looking at that? So, you can see total home sales. Um, for 2024 so far are either at or just below where they were last year. Pending home sales are the same, kind of a little bit higher, but maybe a little bit kind of where we're at this time last year. You can see that peak though after January for the first quarter was definitely a lot higher than it is this year, and definitely way below what's considered a historically healthy level. The sales prices of existing homes has gone up. So the question remains: if pending sales are down and closed sales are down, why are prices continuing to move up? Well, that answer is simple. It's simply supply versus demand. If we look at the demand side, the showing index still remains above pre-pandemic levels. This is showing the showing index over the last 7 Marches. So you can see March of 2024 was still well above 100, which is kind of the baseline of the index. So we're still seeing a lot of demand and a lot of showings for home. Definitely not where we anywhere near where we were in 2021 and 2022, but still pretty high demand for homes that are out there, while at the same time the inventory levels are still pretty low. So this is the months of inventory for sale. This is, again, these are national numbers. This is since 2019. The top of the graph, 5% or 5 month to 6 month inventory level. That's what's considered a balanced market where supply and demand are balanced. Anything below that is where demand is high and supply is low. So you can see nationally it's at about 3.2 months. So it's still an imbalance, still a lot of demand and a little supply. Definitely not near the 1 month supply during the craziness in 2021 and 2022, but still really low, still half of what would be considered a balanced market. And then the other thing is that's pushing affordability. Affordability is at historic lows. So you can see 2023 affordability was a challenge. Was well below historic levels, and I think this year it's trending even below that. So what is the result of that? Well, higher home prices, higher financing costs. That mortgage rate being up near 7% is making affordability a challenge because home prices keep going up as a result of that low inventory and high demand. And this is what I think is important for a lot of people to understand. I try to get my buyer clients to understand this as well. This is kind of graphing relative demand based on mortgage rates. So you can see that above 6.5%, we've seen limited or weak buyer demand. But again, that demand is still outpacing the supply of homes available. However, if you start going below 6.5%, you start seeing good demand, and below 6%, strong demand. So the point I'm trying to make is as that interest rate goes down, the affordability gets better, which means more buyers can afford homes, which means more competition. So without a significant increase in the number of homes available to purchase, that's just going to squeeze buyers a little bit more. So what I mean by that is you're going to have more competitions. You're going to see multiple offers becoming commonplace again, and you might have to pay more than list price once again for a home as that demand increases with falling mortgage rates. My advice to clients now is if you can afford to buy a house at the current interest rate, let's do it. Let's get you in the home that you want so that you're not competing against a lot of multiple offers on a home. And then when rates do fall, you can refinance and put that savings in your monthly budget. This is a quote from Lawrence Yun, chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. He says, astonishingly, greater than 90% of the country's metro areas experienced home price growth despite facing the highest mortgage rates in 2 decades. In the current market, the rising prices are the direct result of insufficient housing supply, not meeting the full demand. So you can see it's all about supply and demand right now. There's nothing artificially, well, within the housing market, artificially creating these home prices. It's simply that there's a high demand for prices and there's a low inventory, a low supply. So a high demand of homes and a low supply of homes. All right, let's take a and take a look at the local real estate market. So this is April sales data. So you can see our number of new listings coming on the market. So this is the number of homes that are newly listed each month. We are pretty much at or just above the pace that we were at last year, which is still fairly a decent amount below 2019, which was more of a normal year. If we look at the total listing count, so this is everything in the month that was um, active, pending, or sold. So I feel like it gives a great picture of what the overall trend is doing and the overall number of sales. You can see that we're better than last year, but still well below 2019. If we break that down into the number of active listings, you can see we had a little decrease in the number of active listings that were on the market in April from March, but we're still trending higher than 2023. But you can see March to April last year, there was an increase, while March to April this year, there was a decrease in inventory. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out through the summers, because right now typically is peak buying time, but we're not seeing the activity that we normally see during this time of year. So it's really going to be interesting to see what May looks like and then what June looks like. Look at the number of pending contracts. So this is homes that went under contract in the month of April. Again, so far this year, we are still trending higher than 2023, and even higher than 2019. So we are well on pace. Closings tend to be closing homes that go under contract this month tend to close next month. So we'll see how that moves closings around, but you can see the number of sold listings so far has been like the rest. It's trending higher than last year, but below 2019 levels. Average sales price. So no surprise there. That is still continuing to go up. It is higher, once again, higher than last year. If we look at monthly price appreciation, this is comparing the monthly median price to the same month of the previous year. You can see every month this year uh, we've been median price higher than the previous month last year, and average as well. So you can see April was 6.2% higher average sales prices and 6.6 or 6.2% higher median sales prices and 6.6% higher average prices. So the trend there, prices continue to go up due to that lack of inventory. Now, this is kind of breaking it down into some of the submarkets. Again, I don't have enough room to put everything. And if I forgot somebody or you think I'm sliding a city or town, I'm sorry. There's no intention here other than just to illustrate some of the differences between some of the areas. What I want you to glean from this is very little negative numbers on here. Elizabethton was down 19% as far as the number of sales, while Johnson City was flat on sales and down about 1.7% on pending contracts. So Johnson City basically a little bit flat compared. And this is year to date so far this year. So this is January through April of this year. But the thing I want you to notice is where inventory is up, sales are up. You can see Bristol has a lot more inventory than last year and therefore has higher sales. Irwin, same thing. Irwin's got record things going on, probably because they have a couple new developments with new homes for sale going on. Same with Jonesboro. Jonesboro has a lot more inventory, almost 20% more inventory than last year, which has resulted in 22% more sales and 20% more pending contracts and almost a 5% increase in prices. So again, we're talking supply and demand. So because we have a huge lack of supply, any anytime that supply increases, it's just meeting the demand. It's not creating an imbalance. So as supply goes up, sales go up. If you really want to see things turn around, what you need to see happen is supply go up, but sales stay flat or sales go down. That will start creating that inventory levels that reaches us more towards a balanced market. But you're not seeing that because we have an extremely low inventory in our area. So I hope all that makes sense, because what I'm trying to show you is people are wondering why home prices continue to go up when it seems like the market is slowing down. The answer is it is slowing down, but it's not slowing down enough to make a difference in inventory levels, as you can see by these numbers. All Anytime we start adding more homes on the market, they are just increasing the number of sales and contracts. It's giving buyers more options to choose from. Um, but buyers are still going out and buying those homes. And I still hear stories, occasional stories of homes going for well over asking price that had multiple offers. Typically, those are homes in the kind of the move up price range. Or the starter price range, because you might have some investors bidding in there, but also in that move up price range, anything from about, I'd say 300 to, I'd put the top at about 500,000. That's kind of the sweet spot for our area. And so if you've got a really good home that is well taken care of, well maintained, updated, and move-in ready, that's getting the most views from buyers, and those are the ones that are getting multiple offers. If you want any more detailed information, I thought about going through different price ranges to show you that we do have some pockets of things changing. Like it was either above 700,000 or above 750,000. We were sitting at almost 9 months of inventory. So in that upper luxury price range, it is a buyer's market, not a seller's market. But the imbalance there is there's not enough things going on in that luxury price range to change the overall dynamic of the market. But I really didn't want to make this a 30-minute or hour long video. But as always, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any specific questions about either your home, your neighborhood, a specific town, or just generic questions about our local real estate market. I'll be glad to talk with you about that. One of my tenets of working with my clients is I believe in a well-informed client. So some of them probably think I give them too much information, but I really want them to know the local market dynamics, along with the whole sales process and what that looks like and what to expect while either listing their home or purchasing a home. So part of doing these videos is a little bit selfish. It helps keep me appraised of the local market and where it's shifting and where it's moving. But I also want to make sure that the general public is aware, because it's very different from the headlines that they might be seeing in the news. And part of that is, here's sort of my final thoughts. So I think mortgage rates are still volatile despite what the experts want. And it's an election year. There's a lot of stuff. They're trying to figure out inflation and the economy. So I think they're going to continue to be volatile throughout the rest of this year. So if anybody's trying to tell you that, oh, here's where rates are going to be by the end of the year, I take that with a grain of salt, because there's still a lot of stuff that can happen to completely blow whatever they're predicting out of the water. Persistent low inventory levels continue despite starting the year with gains, so it's resulting in continued upward pressure on home prices in our area and also nationally. But speaking of that, while nationally sales are down and inventory is up, locally sales are up and inventory is only just slightly, I mean, slightly higher. So we're a little bit different than what the national picture looks like. And as I showed you with the different cities and towns, is that where we do have inventory gains, that's resulting in more sales, which is keeping those inventory gains kind of in check and only letting them go so far. So I hope all of that information is extremely helpful to you. If it is, please think about liking and subscribing to these videos so that you can get more information on a monthly basis about where a local market is going. And as always, I am Jay Cottrell with LPT Realty, and I do make my living by helping people buy and sell homes, not by making these videos. And I don't ever really plan on being a YouTuber. So if you know of anybody that is looking to buy or sell, I would love the opportunity to reach out to them. If you yourself is thinking of buying or selling, please reach out so we can just sit down and have a discussion and see what you're thinking and what that might look like. So that is it for this month. We'll see you next month.